Hi everybody, Crypto STRANG from the UK. Very honoured to have Nick from TELLOR with us. Welcome Nick, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming on. Obviously you've had a fantastic year. You know, first looked at your project in March and then I sort of got some TELLOR, and then back in July I did a video about TELLOR and it was like $7 and you had like a market cap of 9 million. And here we are today. I think the market cap I looked at was like 60 million. So you're obviously making fantastic progress. Can you imagine? Did you envisage you have this much growth so quick?
No, never. It's been kind of surreal. You know, the whole DeFi space and oracles in general have just taken off. So it's really right place, right time. So it's been working out for us.
Yeah, it's the DeFi is so many projects have rocketed, haven't they? It's definitely the sort of main focus issue has been DeFi, and there's so many projects. Your one mainly is the one I've sort of focused on, but I know there's been many others. You know, you think of many projects and it just seems to be like the thing now, doesn't it? They've all had such rapid growth, it's sort of smashing all-time highs, and where the others are sort of just been stabilised in DeFi have just rocketed. So you must be well chuffed.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where right now everything with the word DeFi or Oracle is kind of skyrocketing. And then I think it's going to be over the next few months where we'll really see who sort of holds water once we see kind of what's under the hood and we have a little bit of time to look at things.
Yeah, they might sort of stabilise down a bit and sort of calm down a bit because, yeah, it's been such a hype. So, yeah, lucky my Facebook group, as usual, have come through with loads of questions, if that's okay. So I've just got through a few questions on Instagram as well, but it's normally in my Facebook group where I get the majority of the questions. So the first, the question I got asked the most was about mining on TELLOR. You still need 1,000 TELLOR to start mining?
Yes, you do. So, you know, to kind of give a background on it for people who don't know, the way that TELLOR works, we're a decentralized oracle. So we provide off-chain data onto the Ethereum chain currently. And in order to be one of these data providers, we call them miners, you have to stake 1,000 of our tokens, and then you get to compete at proof of work mining. So similar to Bitcoin or Ethereum mining, you solve some meaningless challenge, and then along with the solution to the challenge, you also submit whatever data is requested of the network. So if somebody wants the price of Bitcoin, if somebody wants the gold price, you also have to submit that along with your solution. And that's how we sort of maintain things fairly and decentralized. But right now, the current topic is, whenever we started, it was basically 1,000 tokens was, like $1,000 originally at this time last year. It wasn't a whole lot of money. But now, as we're currently, I think, $45. Now it's starting to really ramp up in terms of dollar amount, and it is a very large amount of money. It's a really crucial part of TELLOR security, though. So it's really good to see the security budget of TELLOR going up. So now, we're very, very secure with this kind of token price. But at the same time, we recognize that it is sort of a hurdle that limits a lot of miners, and we are looking to change it. We're not changing it anytime kind of in the next few weeks. I think just, we're probably going to base it more off of the TELLOR price in the future, because right now it is tough, but you also don't want to raise it and then have the token price lower. Drop down 50%, and now your security's down. So we kind of believe in kind of moving slowly with these things, and hopefully we'll find the right balance there.
I guess you can, wildest dreams, you never expected to be at like $45 come, August 2020. That's probably a wildest dreams, I would imagine. Must be incredible to wake up.
Well, I mean, that's like whenever we were, there's a lot of things we didn't really expect. Whenever we launched, like we had thought of this, because Ethereum has run into these problems too. Like whenever Ethereum shot up to $1,000, like then gas costs were really high, and or even Bitcoin, like whenever it shoots up, like where one way is like more than a cent, so it ruins, like they didn't think about how many decimals to put in. I remember thinking whenever we were building the system, we're like, well, if that's a problem, like if we hit $50 within a few months, like we'll love to solve that problem when it comes up. And now here we are having to solve it. So it's all good.
It's like every week I go on sort of CoinMarketCap, you can see there's slowly more Teller being released as the circulating supply.
Yeah.
So it takes mining going on, the more release gradually, because it's a very limited supply, really, isn't there? In sort of crypto speak, you know, was it 1.5 million? That's quite low, isn't it? In sort of
and
crypto.
then it goes up slowly. So you know, it's one of the key features. We're using these kind of mining rewards to bootstrap security in our system as we wait for a few markets to develop.
When I first looked into your project, it was blimey. Never mind, live and learn. Another question people always ask about is exchanges. I know you can't sort of go in depth because you're probably sort of non-disclosure agreements for it, but is there plans to go on more exchanges?
Not really. I mean, I'm guessing they're going to list us. Yeah. So, I mean, we've had like the anti-listing plan compared to probably every other project. So we sought out our first listing, which was IDEX, about a year ago, because they were friends with us. And so we got on IDEX. And then after that, we told everybody we're not paying for any more exchanges, and we're just feel free to list us if you want. Yeah, I mean, like last weekend, I think we did like $8 million a day on Uniswap, which was just absurd. So, you know, but we've gotten other bigger exchanges. You know, Gate.io just listed us. Huobi just listed us. Several other exchanges have kind of jumped on board, and it just I think this is kind of the new era now that DEXs have really taken off. You don't need. If you see a project out there, like, you should tell them don't pay large listing fees to get on these exchanges. Like, you know, people are going to find.
Yeah, exactly.
People can go on Uniswap and get your coin. It's okay.
Yeah, because they charge like $500,000, don't they, to some exchange, which is obscene, isn't it? Really, just for you to, you know, list and like you know, you should be privileged to go on their exchange. Well, they need you as much as you need them, don't you? So I always find that quite bizarre. These people have the audacity to charge like £500,000, £1 million or whatever. It's just crazy. But I guess that's business.
Yeah, well, and I've yet to see, you know, real reports. So, like, obviously, like, if you're going to do like a Binance IEO or something, that can make some sense. But like most of these tier 2 exchanges and things like that, like, if you get listed on them, you don't see any price movement at all. You know, it's not like you get actual users or people who want to use your protocol because you listed on them. It's like, you know, paying for listings is something I hope goes away for sure.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's fine. Someone asked, what other cryptocurrencies do you hold and admire? You don't have to answer that. It's purely your personal choice. But what other cryptocurrencies do you admire, and what ones do you hold?
Bitcoin and Ethereum. I mean, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Monero. Those have kind of been like my long time holds. You know, I don't hold too much at the moment. So a little while ago, I sold most of my Bitcoin and Ethereum to pay off my student loans, and then and then I figured I actually have like I sort of have enough personal and financial risk in the cryptocurrency space that a lot of my investments don't need to really be crypto related.
Fair enough. Fair enough. How long have you been in development? You've been around about a year, haven't you? How long before that was you actually in sort of development and get started? Was it a long development or
for Teller?
Yeah.
So
how long was it?
Yeah, it was a funny thing how Teller started. So I left. I actually worked at the U.S. government. I was regulating cryptocurrencies before this, and I left. Yeah, I left in 2017 to do a derivative startup. So we were going to be doing long and short tokens on, say, Bitcoin or Ethereum at the time, and it was a novel DeFi idea back then, and we got an Ethereum Foundation grant to kickstart that. But then, as you know, like, if you're a derivative startup, you run into the Oracle problem. How do you know what the settlement price is? And so we started looking. We honestly were open to using other oracles at the time, but nobody was really sort of decentralized in the fashion that we wanted them to be. So we decided to build out our own project, which became Teller. And then Teller, whenever we started talking to people about Teller, that people seemed to like the Oracle idea more than our derivatives idea. and we actually got into Binance Labs in early 2019. They really liked our Oracle idea and wanted to support it, so we got an investment from them to go full time on the Oracle piece, and that's what we did.
Wow, I didn't realize you used to work for the US government. Wow, probably. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, myself and then our CEO Brenda, we both were economists actually in the U.S. government. So.
Oh wow! Someone asked. People were talking on Reddit mainly, but about Oracle projects getting hacked. How do you protect yourself from that? You know, I know it's not a huge amount sort of on the market, and you've got the mining side of Tether, but how do you stop it being hacked? Like people talk about Ethereum Classic being hacked twice in 6 months, and how do you sort of protect yourself from getting hacked?
Well, I think there's like two ways. So, you know, like oracles can get hacked, and then also the projects can just use oracles poorly and get hacked. Yeah. You know, like there's one thing, like if like a lot of projects, like if you saw, there was, I think like some of them have used like the Uniswap price as an oracle, and you can do that, but the problem is that, well, now if somebody does a large market order on Uniswap, the whole your whole oracle's thrown. So it's a really bad oracle in that way, and just like knowing how easily it is to manipulate. And I think the same goes with like Teller or other different oracles. There's always a cost to break these things. You know, same with like, you know, people know the cost to break ETC. Like it's pretty easy to calculate how much it costs to break ETC. So whenever you're building something on ETC or you're building something on top of an oracle, you should know how much it can secure up to. Like just it's, you know, like even with our oracle. So like right now, like the most of our oracle security comes ultimately down to like the voting piece. So if you bought up 50% of our tokens, you could throw a vote. So you could do like a naive cost to break there, and if you bought up half of our $60 million market cap, it would cost you about $30 million to break. So what that would mean is like if you have a stable coin worth $1 billion, you don't want that secured by Teller's Oracle at the moment. That would just, you know, it would just be a bad idea. Somebody could buy it, and then you know, even knowing how like the different chains work, because I think a lot of people aren't. You know, like Chainlink has like a $6 billion valuation, and people, you know, there's like some centralization concerns, but one of the easier ways to sort of break Chainlink's oracle would just be to break Ethereum in a sense, or like if you just mined every block on Ethereum, you could censor Chainlink from calling their contracts. You could just prevent them from updating. And then if this goes into building smart products, like if you're let's say you're a derivatives product that has a settlement price. If you need that price updated every minute and it breaks, if it's not updated every minute, that's a bad design. Like just, you know, gas costs might go up or things might freeze. Don't do that. And that's what we've seen in the past. Like sometimes people just, they want to make things that update really fast and everything pays out. But the problem is that sometimes things break, and it's better to say like, hey, like, if we don't get an Oracle update for a day, that's okay. The system's still going to survive, and it might not be optimal, and people might have to wait a while, but nothing broke. And I think that's kind of our big gripe is we try and educate people on just building the right kind of products for decentralized networks.
Okay, that's great. No, cheers for that. So you solely based in America, are you? Are you sort of working remotely? Do you have your own central office, or do you work all over the place sort of thing?
Yeah, so the team is Washington, D.C. based. That suffices you. So yeah, we're all right outside of Washington, D.C., and then we actually just hired our first outside hire, and he's in Brazil. So we're slowly expanding, and we want to kind of go global with it as far as the hires, just to really get a nice, diverse team. Okay.
That's great. No, worldwide seems great. So with the US government classifying cryptos as commodities, you used to work for the US government, so I didn't realize that. How do you see that with Tether? Is that something you're worried about? The US government clamping down on cryptos? We hear a lot of things over in Europe about America clamping down. I think they're going to do over Europe as well sooner or later. But how do you see that with the US government clamping down on cryptos?
So like right now, I think it's the US government's kind of put everything in a weird place because there's sort of like this de minimis. So like you can do whatever you want in crypto as long as you don't get really big. You know, like they seem to not be interested in going after a lot of these small projects. Even, you know, there's a lot of really blatantly illegal things that are being done in crypto right now. So for instance, you know, I used to work at the CFTC and like prediction market. So like Augur, for instance, it is illegal for a prediction market for US customers. It's just like in the law, like you need to be approved. And we know that's illegal, but the US government hasn't really gone after that. And you know, and same with a lot of these projects that are pretty blatantly derivatives or something like that. The US hasn't gone after that. And I think a lot of it is like just the relative size of these things. So, you know, the US government, like billion-dollar fines are not uncommon. So if they can go after somebody in the traditional sector and get $1 billion fine, like going after some team for $1 million just it's almost just not worth your effort. Like
that's why a lot of ICOs didn't start in America, did they? Because of the strict laws, and that was a good thing, really, because many ICOs were scams. Let's be honest. I remember that in 2017, and most ICOs you couldn't register if you was based in America, could you? And that was because of all your laws and regulatory, you know. And I thought that's good because there were so many ICOs which were pure scams. You know, I got scammed myself by a couple of ones, but yeah. So America's done well with that side of it. So okay, so they're sort of going to leave you alone. They're not going to sort of start going down looking into crypto projects too much. Then they're going to leave you alone, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part they're going to leave you alone, and then as you get bigger, you know, if you become a massive success, they're going to start looking at you. You know, like if you become like a derivatives platform and you start competing with the CME, for instance, you're going to have some issues. They're going to come crack down on you. But you know, if you're just playing around with, you know, $1 million worth of, you know, 20-year-olds money, it's whatever.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, sure. Are you actively sourcing partnerships? Question I've got a lot, where we can bring sort of local decentralized services and DeFi protocols to more mainstream everyday usage. Are you sourcing partnerships, or is that something sort of down the line, sort of next year perhaps, as you get bigger and established?
So we have kind of two thoughts on partnerships in general. So we don't really do partnerships. We like people to just use us and kind of, you know, like we hated that part of the ICO space where like every day, you know, there's a new partnership announcement. I'm partnering with this wallet. I'm partnering with this person that I'm buying my tacos from. Like, and none of it made any sense. Like, and nobody was actually using anybody. You know, we want people to actually use our software. We don't, you know, you don't tell. Like, you don't call it a partnership announcement whenever whenever you use GitHub. It's not a partnership announcement with GitHub. You're just using GitHub. Like, and that's what we want. That's what we want with our project. Like, people just use us and it works. And then, and then as far as mainstream audiences go too, you know, so right now we're built on Ethereum. And for us, we actually don't see Ethereum being too used by the mainstream. Costs are really high. And it's one of those things that it's built for censorship resistance. The only reason right now you would use Ethereum is if you really, really don't want somebody to shut it down. You know, if you're okay with a little bit of centralization, like you'll just use a database and it'll be a lot faster. In which case you won't need Teller. So that's why, I think we're focused more on the censorship resistant causes and the people who want to sort of keep it really decentralized. That's what we're going after.
Okay, that's right. Someone asked about Ethereum, as we just said there, about ETH at the moment is quite expensive. Do you see sort of, not perhaps yourselves or other projects now going away from Ethereum, like Cardano, for instance, with their sort of smart contracts coming out like Gonga? And do you see Ethereum not being the main focus as we move forward? Because there's so much out there now, isn't there? I guess nothing like the last bull run of 2017. We've got a lot more competition, haven't we? More advanced technology.
No, I mean, I see people going different places. You know, I'm like, Teller will probably launch on different chains as well. And we're looking into doing it. It's one of those things right now. A lot of the other guys are so early, you know, like I don't really see any demand. So like there's some interest in some of these changes, but there's not overwhelming. There's not a winner yet. Basically everybody's just exploring these because, if you launched 2 months ago, like I'm not about to build my whole protocol on you because I don't know how secure you are. I don't know how decentralized you are. I don't know anything about you. So it's really, really hard. Like what I want to see is I want to see some of these competitors who stick around and be live for a year without any major hacks. I want you to, I want you to actually build some of the tooling, get some of the other users on board, and it'll be a slow process similar to how Ethereum was. It doesn't have to be this giant rush, and that's really what I'm looking for. And same with just the decentralization aspect of it. It's like, I want to make sure that nobody can shut it down. And since most of these other protocols are proof of stake based, it's like if the team is holding 60% of the tokens and you're proof of stake based, like it just doesn't work. Like I can't go over here. So I'm hoping that they get better with that and it just becomes less almost scammy still.
I guess I'll see how Ethereum 2.0 goes with the scalability and how they progress. I don't know if, who knows when a 2.0 is coming out. I've heard next year, I've heard September they're starting the testing, who knows. But I guess that'll be the changing point really if Ethereum do stay and do what they've promised, and 2.0 is as great as they're saying. So I think that'll be important as we move forward. But there is so much competition now. I guess time will tell. Hopefully have another bull run soon and we'll soon find out.
Yeah, I mean it's theirs to lose. I think honestly, like Ethereum could use some more time with just like right now, if you look at like what's built on Ethereum, it's a bunch of like if you look at who's spending the most gas, there's some big projects, but so many of them don't need to be built on Ethereum. It's like there's scams, there's pyramid schemes, and they're wasting all this gas. And it's like, if we could just like have I think Ethereum should like call the regulators themselves and be like, can you guys just kick all these people off of our chain so we can function again?
Much built on Ethereum,
yeah. Because same with like Tether's actually the biggest gas spender, and it's like Tether's a completely centralized stablecoin. Like it doesn't need to be on Ethereum. Like you can kick it off.
I didn't spend. Oh, right. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was the biggest spender of gas. I didn't realise. Okay, I suppose it would be the amount it's used. Yeah. Well. Someone said about the DeFi and yield farming, like the biggest hypes this year. They say, do you have plans to expand your project? What's your sort of future plans? I always get asked this question about debit cards. So you've got general everyday usage. Is that something you envisage in 2021 and beyond, or is that something you're not sort of going down that line? A lot of people get listed on crypto.com, don't they, and WIREX and whatnot on BitPay. But do you see yourselves going down that route, purely sticking to like the Oracle side of it, or?
No, I would love to. Probably build. I don't know if we would use TRB. So like our native token, we'd probably build like something more built to be a currency. Most native tokens, like if you're just a utility token, you're probably not made for payment. So you'd want to build something that actually works as a currency. But like that's actually why I got into cryptocurrency really early on, trying to get people to use Bitcoin to buy things. Like it's almost like I want to get back to that because it's more fun. Like, trying to convince your local diner to accept Bitcoin and trying to, tell your buddies online shop to take crypto. Like that's fun. That's like now you're actually expanding the crypto use case. And that's what I hope we do get back to.
So many people coming around to it. When I started in 2016, people laughed at me because I got involved with cryptos. Oh, it's that scam online. It's non-existent or that until you actually proved it with a debit card. Okay, well, I paid my petrol there with a scam. Not real money, but there we go. It's proof there. So, I think a lot of people are coming around to it now, and I think sort of what's happened this year, people looking for sort of decentralization, are fed up being dictated to. So I'm really, really positive about cryptocurrency. I've been in 4 years, so
me too. Yeah, no, and I really like the idea of just like, like I'm not one of these like maximalists where I think one cryptocurrency is going to rule them all. I think having a bunch of different communities that have their own currency that you can use to buy things, and they have their own inflation rates and their own monetary policies, and you can use these to expand your own community and actually use the money with the people that you care about. And that's going to be cool because I think there's a lot of you know, there's a lot of problems with the current U.S. monetary system, and then it sort of leads us into everybody buys from these giant retailers and everything like that. You know, we can fix that just by using different currencies, and and it's such a powerful thing.
Well, yeah, the
Yeah.
euro. You never got involved with the euro in the UK, but yeah, our currency, they're like America. They're just printing continuously at the moment. So I'm really hopeful for the futures. So
Well,
honestly,
and it's not even like I don't mind if they print. Like if you print and give it to people, like that's cool. But like,
yeah,
don't print and give it to the corporations. Like this is like
yeah, exactly.
you're doing it backwards.
Yeah. But no, it's great. No, I really, really appreciate your insight into Teller. It's a fantastic project. Again, I wish I'd got involved with it earlier
Cool.
because you've done so well. Yeah, I say you've had an absolute fantastic year, and I just wish you all the best. So I'll be constantly monitoring you. I'd love to catch up again in a few months, yeah, progressing. But I can't thank you enough for coming on. I really do like your project. I think it's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Richard.
Appreciate
So,
that, Nick. Thanks very much. Cheers for coming on and tell us about it. It's great. All the best.
cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.